the stars shine through. I'll be home someday to spend my life with you.
Remember the night that we fell in love and shared each other's hearts. We looked to the stars in the sky above and swore we'd never part.
Now it's time to go to a strange and distant shore. As I leave, I know I love you even more than the words in a song can say, more than the stars in the sky. Our love will grow each and every day after a goodbye.
Drums are calling each and every one. Oh, the drums are calling each and every one to help our fellow man bring freedom to his land. Oh, the drums are calling.
So you married Donovan before he left for the war with your father's okay?
Papa finally realized that he was no longer in the farm in Quebec. So, with his blessing, I married my Irishman. Do you remember Renaud? Well, he married a Polish girl.
Oh, you were so in love with him. How did you ever live without him?
Well, the day we married at the church, and all the memories I had of him were so good and so close to my heart that I hardly had time to think of anything else, not even my new job at the mill. Of course, I spent a lot of time with Claudia and Louise. We would talk and laugh. We worked hard for our men in the war, making cloth for their uniforms. We spent long hours in the mill. But in a way, the time I spent in the weave room with all the people surrounding me was like another family away from home. Those were good memories, too.
Yeah, he's probably still in the carding room.
Well, you boys won't be laughing so hard when Mr. Willimeyer throws you out onto the streets. What about your mothers? They won't like losing the extra wages.
Pardon me. I hate to disturb you men, but we do have work to do.
Your fellow workers have been waiting for these bobbins downstairs for a half hour now. Some of them have begun to worry that perhaps we'll have to shut down.
Oh well, the boys are playing. We'll just have to wait until they're finished. The soldiers overseas can wait for their uniforms. They'll just make do with the old rags they're wearing. Perhaps just fight naked. What need do they have for clothes anyways? The Germans don't mind. But when they lose the war because they've frozen to death, we'll just send word that you men were playing. Now get back to work.
Yes, sir, Mr. Willimeyer.
Good work, ladies. 300 yards ahead of schedule for the third time this week. You know, there's talk of another raise before Christmas.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful, girls? I could buy one of those new victuals that they've been advertising at Paxi. Maybe it'll help take my mind off Donovan.
And I could get one of those dresses in the window at Samar's. The one with the fancy trim that barely covers the knees. I know Marcel would die to see me in one of those.
What about you, Louise?
Oh, my wages go to my mother.
Come on now, you mean to tell us you wouldn't keep a little? You've been talking for a year now about getting one of those hats at Frank's.
Now, come on, ladies. I didn't say it was definite, so don't get your hopes up. And you'll never see another raise if you don't get back to work.
Yes, Mr. Wilmeyer.
Willimeyer, there you are. I'd like you to meet J.D. Kelsey, one of the principal stockholders from Boston. He and the others have come up to examine the operation.
The pleasure is all mine, sir, and I'm sure that you'll find that everything is running satisfactorily.
Well, yes, it is, except some of the labor force around here seems rather young. If I'm not mistaken, I saw children in the carding room.
That's impossible, Mr. Tillman. We don't allow children under the age of 14. It's against the law.
Fascinating, fascinating. That little doohickey must pass through that other little doohickey 100 times a minute. Amazing. Wonderful.
These are looms, sir. And those doohickeys are called shuttles. You see, the holes in the cards circulating above dictate the pattern of the weave. The strings come down, pick up the corresponding threads, all according to the holes in the cards.
Yeah, thank you, Coburn. I know what a loon is. Who do you think's supporting this operation?
Loon, sir, loon. A loon is a bird indigenous to the waters of the north.
Thank you, Tillman, you buffoon. I know what a loon is. Now, show me the rest of this place. I got an appointment in Biddefine this afternoon.
Biddeford, sir. It's Biddeford.
Thank you, Tillman. I know.
Okay, right this way, gentlemen, please. I'll show you the spinning room, where cotton is spun into thread and put on the bobbin. Thank you for your time, Willie Meyer.
Yes, thank you, Willie, man.
Say, you girls get a load of those bigwigs who came through today? A bunch of them came to our carding room this morning. Coburn had to explain to one of them what a card was.
He made me laugh. He'd never seen a loom before.
Hey, don't laugh. He's the guy who's paying your wages. And they are talking about another raise. You won't catch me complaining. I worked long and hard for my job in the spinning room, and I say God bless the big one.
Say, girls, I don't suppose you'd be interested in the show this weekend. There's a great motion picture down at the Strand. We could take my Model T.
What Model T? You mean your bicycle?
No, I saved my wages for a year and bought me a new Ford. She's sleek, goes up to 25 miles an hour.
Tell me, Paul, is your car fast enough to outrun my husband when I tell him you won't leave us alone?
You girls are no fun.
I don't know, Madeleine. Louise and I might like to take in a show. You know, it's been a while since we've had a night out.
I'll speak for myself, thank you. I intend to retreat on Saturday evening.
Fine. Paul and I will go alone.
Well, back to work.
I live by that whistle. Hear it in my sleep.
Lungs are just filled with cotton dust. That is life at the mill.
How many of us speak English, while those of us here can speak French?
Their minds were cleared of their anguish from the dirt and the noise and the stench.
But we don't complain, that would be in vain. So we just work away. And we bear it well till the final bell at the end of the day.
We have no crimes against management. They always have
Donovan. Came home, Private Macaulay.
Godspeed, Mrs. Macaulay. There's a lot to say on our first day back, but before you say another word, we celebrate with a bottle of fine French wine.
You remembered.
We're gonna dance through the streets until we can dance no more. When all is said and done, all that'll remain of the day is you and me. I've had my share of tears for those we've left behind. The dreams that they all shared are passed away. I know it seems like years since the world seemed kind. Now let those thoughts and fears just fade away. Let go of the past now. This decade's in our grasp now. The world is getting brighter every day. I've got a feeling deep inside. The years will be reeling and keep me satisfied. Yesterday's bad times are gone and far away. Won't scrape for thin dimes or see a rainy day. You might think that I am crazy. I won't blame you if you do. Though the future's kind of hazy, I see sunshine coming through. Wonderful feeling, let me emphasize. Life is appealing, I hope you realize. I'm telling you and I hope you'll comprehend. I'm glad to be happy again.
You had such a wonderful time together.
We spent many nights dancing, or walking downtown, or we'd go at the music hall at every chance we get. The hall was at the heart of Lisbon Street and a wonderful part of our life together. Oh, Jenny, what time is it?
It's 3:15. Why? What's wrong with your watch?
Oh, it works. It's only that I was afraid to be late.
Maddie, your bus doesn't leave until 5:30 and your flight doesn't leave until 7:30. You'll be an hour early. Maddie, what's wrong? You said we'd sit here one last time and talk without looking at our watches. You're breaking the rules.
You're right.
Give me your watch.
Okay. But be careful. Donovan gave it to me just before the Depression. In 1928, he was foreman at the Hill Mill. It's a good thing that he gave it to me then, as it would take many years before he could afford to get me another one. Not very many people had it easy during the Depression.
Well, after all that singing and dancing, it's hard to believe times would ever be tough.
Believe it, child. There was no more raises, and the mill worker worked fewer hours. The future of the mill was uncertain until the day of Wyman and Insult. Most people considered them as saviors. Until then, there was talk of the Androscoggin.
As the treasurer of the Androscoggin Mill, I feel obligated to inform the stockholders of the mill's current predicament. As everyone is aware, the mill has been losing money for several years now as a result of competition from the South, where goods are made cheaper and in greater quantity. If the mill is to remain solvent and competitive, it would be necessary to upgrade our operation at a cost of $500,000. Should the board choose not to invest the capital in improvements, the equipment will soon become obsolete, and the mill will be forced to close its doors.
What am I going to do? What am I going to tell Louise? I'm going to tell Louise that I lost my job? All right, quiet, Larry, please, sit down. Look, you all know I've called you here. We've been through this before. How many hours are they cutting this week? Calm down, Whitney. It's not that bad. Word from upstairs that we'll be down on Thursday afternoons, beginning today. For how long? Well, at least until the end of the month. Indefinitely. See, indefinitely. It could have been worse.
Worse. The guys around the corner at the Androscoggin are having it worse. What am I to tell my family and my kids? That we're next?
But fellas, it's really not that bad. Al, you're still taking home $16 a week.
Yeah, but not for long. Word around town is the Androscoggin is sinking. She's going to take the hill down with her.
You bet. Bob Cormier works over in the spinning room, and he says as of next Thursday, they're all done.
I don't know anything about that. But I can guarantee you we don't go down without a fight. Why don't you fellas go home to your families and try to enjoy the time off? Enjoy the time off. What am I going to tell Louise?
Yeah,
enjoy the time
off. Don't you have any idea how life is the other side of that canal?
Walter, look at these numbers. We're not even halfway there. We need help. We can't possibly purchase the Androscoggin Mill without outside help.
We can't just let the Androscoggin close. We've got to do something to keep it open. What? I'm not sure yet.
But Walter, we've appealed to all the local investors. No one wants to have anything to do with trying to save a sinking ship.
How short-sighted. How can they turn their backs while their city's fate hangs in jeopardy? And what about Central Maine Power? I did not build this company from scratch to watch it die 20 years later. If the Androscoggin goes under, the rest of them will follow, and CMP couldn't sustain the revenue loss.
Walter, the mill can't keep up anymore. It needs $500 million in upgrades. The southern mills are outproducing us. The cost of labor in New England is too expensive. And we can't keep up with the technology.
Littlefield, I'm well aware of the situation. But has it occurred to you that jobs might be at stake, including yours?
Walter Wyman's office. One moment, please. Mr. Wyman, a call from Albert Lamontagne.
We won't hold our breath on this one.
Hello, Albert. Yes, thank you for getting back to me. How are you? Uh-huh. Oh, fine. Listen, Albert, I called for a reason. I just returned from a stockholders meeting at the Androscoggin Mill, and it seems the plant is in some danger. I'll cut right to the chase. Oh, you already know. No, I haven't contacted him. I'm trying to keep it local. And after all, Albert, thousands of jobs are at stake. It's Lewiston's future. Uh-huh. Well, if that's the way you feel about it, very well, Albert. We'll see you at the company Christmas party.
Like I said, dead end.
Mayor Wiseman and some representatives from Lewiston to see you, sir.
Send them in.
Gentlemen?
Come in, Robert.
It's good of you to see us on such short notice. This is Alderman Harold Skelton.
Please, sit down. Beatrice, some coffee for these gentlemen. Well, men, I know why you've come. You want to know if we've made any progress. And I'll be straight to the point. And we all know Lewiston's industrial base is at stake, and, well, so is a significant chunk of Central Maine Power's revenue. It's my understanding that the Hill Mill is also in jeopardy, and the numbers show declining profits at the other mills in the area. I've been contacting local investors, and some have even expressed interest, but let's face it, gentlemen, it's too big a risk for any local man to take. I hate to be the one to say it, but it doesn't look good.
Of course not. No one has that kind of money to put into an obsolete mill. We saw this coming. We've been beating the bushes also, and actually we've turned up nothing. Well, Walter, I guess there's little left to say but to thank you for your efforts. I must say I never thought I'd see any of the mills closing their doors. Not on my watch. I'm afraid it's not going to look very good in the history books.
Mr. Wyman, if you permit me, now that you're the president of NEBSCO and have established closer ties with the Chicago Utilities investors, have you considered enlisting in their help? I mean, it's my understanding that Samuel Insull, the chairman of NEBSCO's parent company, has recently purchased the Edwards Mill in Augusta, which was facing a markedly similar plight. Do you, I mean, it's just a thought, but do you think that they would consider buying up the Androscoggin and making it a part of the Insull empire?
Well, Insull has been investing more heavily in industrial concerns and utilities in this part of the country. I mean, he bought CMP and he snatched up the Edwards. Who knows, he just might consider it. I mean, the original intent was, of course, to try and keep it local. Yeah, but considering the circumstances, it couldn't hurt to run it by him. Beatrice, ring me Chicago. Well, man, I can't guarantee anything, but this just might work. I mean, I'm sure he'd at least be willing to... Yes? Sam, I'm glad I caught you. I had a little something I wanted to run by you. A little proposition?
Okay, give it to me straight, Donovan. How much longer before we all get the axe?
I don't know, Earl. Your guess is as good as mine. It's like the fella said, there's talk about the Androscoggin going under. For now, we still get jobs. I don't know about you, Earl, but we're not starving.
I suppose you're right, boss. For now. Hey, maybe I'll take the boys fishing this afternoon or something. Till Monday.
Till Monday, Earl.
Yes, Sam. Beautiful. Hey, you won't regret it. Uh-huh. I'll have the paperwork in Chicago by the end of the week. Well, men, the Androscoggin's ours.
After the Androscoggin, the Hill and Bates also went into the hands of Mr. Insull. For the next few years, the mill workers did not lose their jobs, but the crash of 1929 was painful for everyone all across the country. This was the time of the Great Depression.
What in the world ever happened to the carefree days of the past? In these times they call a depression, the hopes we all had faded fast. The mills were here to provide us with a chance to improve our lives, but we're finding now that it's useless as we struggle each day to survive. It used to be that there was work for any willing slob. Now all you hear from office jerks, be glad you've got a job. You bust your ass 6 days a week, 10 hours every day. Now you're on a losing streak, you just can't find a way. It wasn't supposed to be like this, a sad and hopeless time. They said we'd have it all, can't miss, now it's brothers, spare a dime. It wasn't supposed to be this way, our fathers told us so. It makes us want to run away, but there's nowhere else to go. was young, I lived for today. The future here seemed so far away. The times I thought would always last, I never dreamed they'd go by so fast. Now the winter winds are cold over the hopes I could not hold. The promise that come my way, dreams of another day. I dreamed of worlds I wanted to see. The life I chose would let me be free. I thought that life was always a game, that I would find my fortune and fame. But all I've found for too many years is so much sadness, sorrow and tears. The joy that had come my way, dreams of another day. These are times that make it hard to understand why there's so much sorrow and pain across the land. From the valleys, cities and plains, to the mills here in Lewiston, Maine, we wonder when will it ever end, and when can we dream again? When can we dream again? These can be times that break a man's heart. These can be times that tear him apart. Deep inside I know there will be the kind of world I wanted for me. No matter how bad life always seems, I will hold on to all of my dreams. The madness I feel inside, sadness I just can't hide. I'll set aside, find another way, dream of my younger
Donovan and I survived those desperate years. I took care of Donnie Jr. and the other children while his father worked hard at the mill. But the times had not slowed us down, and our love for dancing, especially to the swing time music,